Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Dan and Kev's Wrestling Talk Show, where we're probably just going to be chatting about the upcoming Royal Rumble. To be honest,
Yeah,
I think that's the next big talking point in it. So
yeah, yeah.
I
I was
think
I was going to say, should we just talk about the Rumble because I think there's
yeah,
so much going on and
yeah,
said and everything else on it.
yeah,
So where do you want to begin? Women's Royal Rumble
yeah,
because there's a
yeah.
lot
Let's go.
going on with that. So I think Asuka's just been cleared. I saw that this morning. She's now cleared to return to wrestling.
Yeah,
So I would imagine she'll be in it.
yeah, yeah. I thought so. Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought so.
What do you reckon the surprises are going to be? Because a lot of them they've already announced, but I think there's going to be one or two.
Yeah, mate, you already know my feelings on it. I hate that they announce anything. I,
Yeah,
I,
yeah,
I just I just don't like sometimes I get it. Like when the numbers of Raw or SmackDown are low and the viewerships are low, I get it. But come on, this is the Royal Rumble. Like
yeah,
we know that there are going to be surprised. Like people aren't going to tune in because they've announced that Lita's going to be in it and the Bella Twins are going to be in it. People were
yeah,
tuning in anyway to find out who was going to be in it.
yeah,
Now we know. Like, okay, the women's Royal Rumble, I think, would have pretty much guessed that the Bella Twins will be in it because they pretty much always are.
yeah.
You know, they'll come
I
back
think
for
I
that
think
one
I
match.
think Summer Rae and Kelly said it was supposed to be a secret, and they were both a bit upset that it had already been announced.
But I don't get. This is what I'm saying. Like sometimes when it's Raw and SmackDown, you can go, okay, fair enough. You know, the ratings have been low or whatever. This is the
Yeah,
fucking Royal Rumble. Like, come on, you
yeah,
don't need to be announcing shit. You
no,
just we're going to be tuning into the Royal Rumble because we want to know who's going to be. So 10, 9, who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? And even when it's someone that's there every week, you don't get that excited because now I'm officially entering myself into this year's Royal. I don't want to know. I don't
yeah.
want to
Just
know
turn
who's
up,
in it.
turn up.
Because if you don't know anyone, everyone is a surprise.
Yeah,
Yes, of course, you know that Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins and whatever, like, yes, you know that they're going to be in it, but
yeah,
like there will be ones that will slip. Like I'm not being funny, Kev. Would you have thought that Summer Rae would have been coming back and entering? Because I wouldn't have even thought
no,
of her. Been gone
no.
for years. Wouldn't have even
Yeah,
thought of her.
yeah, yeah. Exactly.
You
Yeah,
know, and the thing is as well, like, would you have even gone there and gone, oh, Lita's definitely in it? Because Lita was in
yeah,
the first one, but she's not been in either of the last two. It's not like she's
yeah,
in every single one. Like the Bella Twins was in the first two. They weren't in the
yeah,
last one because they were both pregnant.
yeah,
So, like, I think stuff like the Bella Twins, you know, but like Kelly and Summer Rae and even Lita, they've not been in everyone. So when when Lita's music hits, me and you, I'm going, oh, fucking Lita's back, come on! Like
yeah,
now, we already know.
yeah,
It
yeah.
ruins everything.
And apparently Lita's there as well for a while. Apparently she's got one last run in her, so I think she's coming back a bit more now.
That'd be good.
But you've got Michelle
Um,
McCool as well, obviously the Undertaker's wife.
yeah, yeah.
So could we get a surprise entrance from the big man?
I hope. To be honest, mate, the only reason why I'm going to say no is because they've announced that many that there's only like enough spots for like 3 surprises.
Yeah,
Like when the show everyone like when they go, these are in the men's Royal Rumble match. There's like 3 or 4 spots that are blanked out.
right. I haven't seen that yet. I've not. I know some people. I know there was a lot announced on Raw, and obviously on SmackDown and stuff like that. But I haven't seen like because we know Johnny Knoxville's going to be in it.
Yeah,
Um,
I wanted to ask you your opinion on that because for
I,
me,
I, for me, Royal Rumble has always had a celebrity person in it anyway. Always. Pete Rose was the main person and has always got eliminated by Kane. And they've always had some sort of celebrity entry in the Royal Rumble in some capacity throughout the years. So it was no surprise. And obviously, it's just there to promote a movie. Nothing's ever going to come of it. I guarantee you, he will eliminate one person and then get chucked out himself.
He will probably eliminate Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's what it's building up to.
I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it. Because this is just the way I look at it. You're taking the piss out of what the Royal Rumble stands for, because you're basically turning it into a joke. And if you're a wrestling fan, the Royal Rumble isn't a joke. And to be honest, most people I know, and myself, and I know you included, Royal Rumble is everyone's favourite pay-per-view, even more so than WrestleMania. Because back in the day, you wouldn't know who was entering it. No. So someone's music at it, and you go like there were so many pops because guaranteed there was 5 people out of the 30 that would enter that would shock you.
Yeah.
So like I don't like the whole celebrity gimmicky thing because, and the thing is, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, I used to enjoy watching Jackass when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But Johnny Knoxville's kind of been, what's he done in the last 10
years?
Over
now. Yeah, he's sort of over now. He became a very big celebrity and then went away. And now he's just come back.
He's not done anything for the last 10 years.
Yeah. He was all over. He done a lot of films. He was all over everything at one point, and now he's just gone away. And I think he's trying to claw something back.
But my problem with it is, I guarantee when we're doing our podcast after the Royal Rumble, I bet I can name at least 5 male wrestlers that should have been in that Royal Rumble match that didn't get a spot because Johnny Knoxville's in there.
Yeah.
That's what I don't like.
Yeah.
You're taking the spot from someone who's worked their ass off all year, even if it is Humberto Carrillo. It doesn't matter. Yeah. It doesn't. This is someone that has worked their ass off week in, week out for years. It doesn't matter if the music hits the rundown and I don't know, Omos launches them straight over the top rope. It doesn't matter. They've got that bit of TV time. Like,
yeah.
I
think some NXT guys
wins the Rumble.
I still think some NXT guys are going to be in it. They've got to be. I think Ciampa, Dunn. I think Roderick Strong maybe even, and Walter. You got all these guys there that are willing to come up, and like you're saying, they're taking a spot away. So,
but there aren't enough spots now because, I said, I agree with you. There should have been at least 3 or 4 spots in each. So 3 or 4 for the men, 3 or 4 for the women. That should have been NXT people coming into the Rumble match, and then you have a couple of surprise entrants, so like Bayley and Asuka. A couple of returns. Paige.
Yeah, Paige. Yeah, I think she's like the main one.
She's. I will be gobsmacked if she doesn't come out.
Yeah.
Gobsmacked.
Yeah, she's been teasing it big time, I think.
Yeah, she is.
I don't know. At this point, a lot of people are now saying, is she trolling? But we'll find out. She's trolling all the fans. I'll find out.
All I know is that she's been under the same doctor that Nikki Bella was under. I know that she's been working with him for years. I know that she's been training with Natalia for a good few months now. So
I think she's gearing up, isn't she? At least.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, she
is. If not, he sort of, I don't know, maybe after WrestleMania, because they always do a big reveal, don't they? A big comeback on it after WrestleMania.
Do you know what though, Kev? Credit to her. Like, you've got to take your hat off to her and give her a lot of respect because what she has had doctors from Impact and Ring of Honor over the years, and over the last couple of years, AEW have contacted her, basically telling her we would clear you.
Yeah,
and she's not fought a way out of a WWE contract. She's not tried to. She's stuck by WWE, and she's trusted their doctors. And what she's done is she's worked her ass off to get medically cleared by WWE because this is where she wants to be. She doesn't want to go and wrestle. Like, she knows she could fight her way out of a contract, to be fair, what WWE have done is anyone that have asked, I want out of my contract, because a couple of the people that have been released weren't WWE's choice; it was their choice. Dave said, "Look, let me out of my contract. I want to go." And they've done that, and they've honoured it. They've let them out of the contract. And do you know what, Kev? To be fair, they have actually carried on paying people for either the 4 or the 8 or the 12 weeks, however long it's been, because every contract was different. They've paid them, and even though they've not been on TV and they've not been doing anything for them, they've still paid them. You know, you can't really slag them off too much. They have done, you know, what's best, because when you look at the rosters still look big, and they've got rid of a shitload. So if you think that, you know, if they hadn't have released all them people, how many people are just in the back doing nothing every week?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think they've done the right thing. I think they cut a lot of the dead wood, so to speak, because their roster was huge. So you know, it's hard, isn't it? We as wrestling fans want to, you know, we want to see all these people, you know, Malachi Black or Aleister Black and all this sort of thing, and we're like, we've got huge potential, and then they get released, and I think that's the frustrating thing. But you know,
they've made some mistakes, but like you said months ago, yes, for every Aleister Black and Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman and Karrion Kross, for every one of them that they've released, where we've gone, oh, for fuck's sake, what have you got rid of him for? Yeah. For every one of them, there's 5 or 6 that you've gone, yeah, I'd have probably have got rid of them too.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So, you know, yes, they have made some mistakes, and I mean, Braun Strowman, I know, was causing problems. Bray Wyatt, we've already spoken about, we know was causing problems. Aleister Black, for whatever reason, I don't think Vince was keen on, and I think the same for Karrion Kross. I think for whatever reason, Vince didn't even give Karrion Kross a fair shot on Raw. He just didn't. Like, I remember Rhea Ripley was on Corey Graves After the Bell podcast, and she said her first night on Raw, Vince pulled her to one side and said, "You're on Raw now. What you've been doing on NXT won't work. You have to change it." And this is what I said to you. I hate that. I hate everything about that, because everything she did on NXT gained her a fan base, gained her amazing supporters. You know, it got her the NXT Championship.
Got her where she was.
It got her the WrestleMania match against Charlotte. There was nothing wrong with Rhea's character, so why change it? And Karrion Kross, right or wrong, whether if you've watched NXT over the last 2 years, Karrion Kross for probably a good 12-month period was probably the best thing in WWE apart from Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
And the first 6 to 8 months that Karrion was there, Roman was out injured. So there was a period of time before Roman came back where Raw was awful, SmackDown was awful, NXT had one shining light, and it was Karrion Kross. Everything he did on NXT turned to gold.
Yeah.
It was amazing. All they had to do was bring him up to Raw with that and do the same thing. Have Scarlett as a part of his entrance. Have him do the same thing he was doing on NXT, because it was working. Whereas they've clearly done with Karrion, and we've gained that insight knowledge, which is why I'm so happy that Rhea said her first night on Raw, Vince pulled her to one side and said, no. What you've been doing on NXT won't work up here. You're in the big time now. You need to change. You need to do this. Bullshit. If what you're doing is working, you shouldn't need to change. And what annoys me about that is they've not changed Riddle. They've not really changed our Damian Priest. I know they've changed him now slowly, but the first couple of months when he came up, he didn't change. Shayna Baszler wasn't doing anything. They just weren't being
Priest hasn't changed. Damian Priest hasn't changed.
Yeah.
He's playing the same character he did in NXT. So
well, they've tweaked it now, because now he's doing the Damian and the Priest side of him. That was a good and a bad. Like, that's changed.
Effectively, it's the same.
But even if you forget that, the first 3 months after he came up, there was no change. Didn't change nothing. Riddle hasn't changed at all. Bianca Belair hasn't changed. So why do some come up and they say, "Carry on doing what you're doing because you're killing it," and then other people like Rhea Ripley and Karrion Kross, who were both monstrous, and Keith Lee, they were phenomenal successes on NXT. They didn't need to change anything. They were told that they needed to change, and then it didn't work. I kind of feel like Karrion Kross was just never. He was doomed to. I mean, to be fair, he said, I don't know if you've seen it. It was him and Scarlett was interviewed by Renee. I sent you the video.
Yeah.
And they basically, like Karrion says, he knew from day one on Raw. I knew that this was going one way, and it was going bad. Like he would say to.
Yeah, he turned around, didn't he? And he said that he was on Raw, and he was like, everyone was like, "Oh, you're doing a good job. You're really doing a good job." And he was like, "Okay, I've never been in the ring with Jeff before," and we spoke, and he was quiet, and we were going around, and he said, Jeff's going over you, sort of thing, and we've got a bigger plan in place. And he was like, "Okay, yeah, oh, we've got this uniform for you." It was like, "Okay," and he would go back to NXT, and he says, they were hype as well, but he said it just didn't feel right, did it? He said there was something there, and it felt like they were destroying his character. But he, as a company man, he went, "Okay, I'll do what you say."
Yeah, he said everything right.
Yeah, and he said everyone up backstage was saying how good he was, how there was a long-term plan for him, and he said he went back to NXT and he said he just felt something was off, didn't he? He said something didn't feel right. It was off, even though all these people backstage were saying you're doing well, you're great, we've got long-term plans for you. He said something didn't feel right, so he said he wasn't surprised when he got his released.
Well, I'm glad that we've touched on Karrion Kross. I think it is a good talking point. I mean, obviously, I'm a massive fan of his, and I'm annoyed and frustrated that we've let him go. But for me, I think what annoyed me the most, and actually, I'll be honest, actually really upset me. You could see in that interview, him and Scarlett are devastated. Like they're like, we're devastated that WWE released us, and they did nothing wrong. Like Karrion did everything right. He said to be honest, the way he's talking, it sounds like he said to Triple H himself, wearing this mask won't get over in now. Like this isn't the 90s anymore. Like he basically, obviously this was last year, so he's like, this won't get over with the crowd in 2021. It just won't work. And no, it's fine, it's great. No, we've got a long-term plan for you. And they just threw him under the bus and then said, "Oh, this isn't working. He's not getting any reaction from the fans. We'll get rid of him." Well, isn't it? You've not even given him a fucking chance. Like you've just given him the biggest pile of shit, which he said, "I will do as you tell me because I want to keep my job." And then because it's not worked, you've sacked him. Whereas if they said,
loads of contract offers as well, didn't he, from other companies? Ring of Honor, Impact, AEW. But he chose WWE. And
you know what? I wouldn't be surprised. Genuinely, I wouldn't be surprised if he came back in the Rumble. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a few that they've released to say, we'll bring you back as a surprise in the Rumble. Because it gives maybe they've said, look, it gives the crowd time to kind of forget. So the people that didn't watch you in NXT, when you come back in the Rumble with a whole new character and a fresh look, it's new. Maybe I'm just clutching at straws because I really, really like him and I want him to be at WWE. But I just feel sorry for him because he did.
I think there's a lot of chances. I think if anything is to go by, I think Mickie James is one of them. She went away, the whole black bag gate, and she's still come back. So it obviously means there's an open door for everyone to return in some capacity. It's up to them whether they want to return or not. And like you said, I don't know. I've seen pictures of Karrion Kross on Instagram working out, and he's grown his hair back now, and he looks totally different now from the shaved hair look. But yeah, you might be right. He might come back. We might see a few people return, like as a surprise entrance. But what about the AEW element? Have you seen? Obviously, there was rumors for the men's. The rumors were it was Bryan Danielson and Chris Jericho. But now, as we've just learned like yesterday, Cody Rhodes has been working AEW out of contract. He's a free agent. And he put a video out yesterday saying there's bigger things to come. AEW's great, but there were certain things that he wanted to do. he couldn't do under
I
contract.
am stunned because he started AEW.
Yeah.
Tony Khan basically only started AEW because he had Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes was the first guy. They then got Jericho, Kenny Omega, and the Young Bucks.
Young Bucks.
But Cody Rhodes was the first. Like
Founding member.
Yeah, he did everything.
Yeah.
If he leaves AEW, I will be genuinely stunned because I know Tony Khan owns it and is the money man, but Cody Rhodes is AEW. Like, he is the wrestling face of it.
A lot of people now are saying that he's almost said that he's coming in the Rumble because he's out of contract.
That would be cool.
And to put it in another spin as well, he's the interim. Sammy Guevara is the interim TNT champion, and they said, why have they just done that for 1 week? Obviously, Cody went off with COVID and couldn't compete, so they created an interim champion for Sammy Guevara. So it still means that he's the champion, and they were like, but he's out of contract. And the theory is now he's going to turn up on WWE as the TNT champion, AEW TNT champion with the belt.
I've got two things AEW related when it comes to Rumble. One, imagine number 30 in the men's Rumble and Cody Rhodes music hits.
Yeah,
he comes up through this, but like even the lyrics of his song, he had Down Straight create that song based on how he felt like leaving WWE. Like the lyrics of the song are, "You took my dreams, but not my name."
Yeah,
because he is a Rhodes.
Yeah,
with his family name, he can go and do whatever he wants.
Yeah,
he created the song with Down Straight to spit in the face of Vince McMahon.
Yeah,
I mean, you took my dreams, but not my name. Everyone follow me until the end. I am my kingdom. He's basically saying, I'm a Rhodes. I'm gonna go off and do it on my own, which is what he's done. But that'd be awesome. But I literally said this to Nat on Saturday when we watched SmackDown, and she was like, "Don't get me giddy. Don't even say that." They keep at every possible turn. They keep throwing in the Shield. And I know it's Roman versus Seth.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice it. Do you know, not the SmackDown just gone, the one before, when it ends with Seth knocking on the door and he walks in, and that's how it's only when they've shown it on Raw that I realised that the knock was the Shield music.
Shield music, yeah.
That was awesome. That gave me goosebumps. Like, oh my God, it was amazing. But it's like on Raw, it's not anything to do with Raw. And on Smack, like they're showing promo packages of when they were together in the Shield, and they keep showing old from the Shield and Seth stabbing him in the back. And they purposely haven't blacked out Dean.
No.
On 4 or 5 clips, Dean's front and center. Like, they've not even tried, because they could have found clips where Dean could have been out of shot, and they've not.
Yeah.
And with this forbidden door being opened and
imagine their match, right?
That's what I was going to
say. And he coming back and him hitting Seth with the chair to get to screw Roman, like he did with them, and that would be like,
imagine
full circle, mate.
Imagine if Dean Ambrose, and it's Dean Ambrose as well, not Mox. If Dean Ambrose
he came out in the Shield
gear on,
with the Shield gear on, that's
Seth
what it's
in the back with the chair. Do you know what? Maybe even hit both of them in the back with the chair, and then
he comes out with the chair and he goes, "Get Roman up, and I'll hit him." And as he picks Roman up, he hits Seth on the back, and then it's like payback sort of thing. Walks off. Roman pins in 1, 2, 3.
But it's just that's great TV. That's TV at its best. That's wrestling drama at its best. That would be amazing. And there are opportunities now. Like I remember, like, and I'm just. I know I said it last week, but there aren't many times that I'm right. Every single time me and you have a discussion and we give our opinion, 9 times out of 10, it's always you. So I'm glad that I've got one finally after 2 years. Because 2 years ago, I said, "Do you think we'll ever see anything between WWE and AEW?" And you said no. So maybe I'm right on that.
I didn't think at that time. No, I thought at
Yeah.
that time it was different. It was all sort of. I think now, I think WWE we could be seeing a sort of people wrestling for them like in AEW, sort of not under contract or under very short contracts. So,
Yeah.
oh yeah, you can come and wrestle for us. We need you for a program for a month.
Yeah.
Pay them for a month. If it does well, just keep paying them, sort of thing, and then rolling contracts, sort of thing.
Well, so far this debate is 1-1 because and so you've got the deciding vote.
Right.
Me and Nat have a different opinion on this.
What's that?
If Chris Jericho comes out at the Rumble, if his music hits,
yeah,
I said I want it to be old school. I want Break the Walls Down. I want old school Jericho. And she went, no, it'd be so much better if it's the Fozzy music, if it's Judas and he comes out with the like what he's doing it, like that would be so much better. What do you think would be better?
I think the crowd would pop more if it was the original Jericho music.
I do.
Because it'd be like when Edge, when You Don't Know Me, and it was like, and everyone just lost it. I think if they went with the fireworks and it was Break the Walls Down, everyone would just lose their shit,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, me.
But both would be really cool. But I think there would be more of an impact if it was Break the Walls Down.
Yeah.
Both
will be. To be honest, mate. Either way, we win.
Either way, yeah.
Either way, we win and
But, yeah. The win-win in it for everyone.
There are options there, and obviously them announcing that Mickie James will be on there. Mickie James isn't under contract with WWE; she's under contract with Impact. So, what people were saying was WWE don't like things being complicated. What if she gets injured? Who is liable? But
I would imagine that would be all under WWE, wouldn't it? Because you're under that banner. So,
but wrestlers want to this is what I've always said about this. It's so simple, and people don't think. People sometimes overcomplicate things. Doesn't need to be complicated. It's really simple. Wrestlers want to wrestle. They don't give a shit if they get hurt. A lot of them.
Look at AEW.
If you contacted Mox and said we want you to come back and be Dean Ambrose as a one-off night, as the
one-off night,
we'll pay you this amount of money, but you have to sign a waiver, which states if you get injured, it ain't on us. You're telling me that he would go, oh man, I don't give a fuck if I get injured. They don't care.
The GCW champion, the deathmatch king and all this. So
it's not even just Mox. All of I would say 95% of wrestlers would go, oh, for my music to hit at Royal Rumble when I'm not even under contract with WWE and no one thinks I'm going to be there, me to walk down and do stuff and get that reaction from the. You're telling me that I wouldn't do that because I've got to sign a waiver with states if I get injured. Bollocks. 95% would sign, and because that's all. WWE needs to go, look, X amount of money. This is what we're paying you for one night's work, and here's a second piece of paper where you're signing a waiver, which means if you get injured, we aren't liable for any medical.
Yes,
it's not complicated, and most wrestlers would sign that.
Oh yeah, of course they would,
because they don't care. They do this for that reaction off the fans, and if they get injured doing it, so be it.
Yeah.
Why has Shane McMahon and Jeff Hardy done the crazy ass shit that they've done throughout the careers? Because of the fans. One of the most interesting things that I heard was what Buddy Murphy said after he got released. He was talking about how difficult it was during the PC era. He said, they made him wrestle 3 matches in a row, tape 3 matches in a row. For one was for Raw, one was for NXT, and one was for the Raw the week after. He said, and he was driving home, and he couldn't turn the steering wheel. His body was hurting that much, and he put his. They all did. All of them.
Braun Strowman collapsed at home, didn't he? When he would wrestle.
Yeah. He could have died. My mum, Nat's mum, her ex next door neighbour, died that way. She literally had the shower too hot. She got too hot, passed out, and she fell through the glass of the shower and bled to death. Like it happens. Him collapsing in the shower was really dangerous. You know, so all sorts happened and Braun Strowman collapsed because of that, because they were doing so much, they were recording so much in one day that the body. What was so hard, which was what Buddy Murphy said, it's a brilliant piece of insight, was he said it's so hard to get your ass back up off that canvas when there's no crowd there. He went, because this shit hurts. Taking a simple bump hurts. When you jump off the top rope, say you go for a frog splash and your opponent rolls that roll. How many times does that happen? Where someone goes to do something off the top rope and their opponent rolls out of the way. That'll happen 2 or 3 times in a match. But when you land on that, it hurts.
There's nothing there. No,
there's no crowd. There's no crowd there. When you can hear the crowd roaring, you get that adrenaline rush, and you don't really feel the pain as much. And it makes but it's not even that. Even if you do land funny, you go, "Oh, I'm winded. Oh my god, that hurt. Oh my god, my back is killing me. Shit, that really hurt."
Yeah.
You go in. Well, I've got 2 options. I lie here, or there's 5,000 fans here. I'm going to look like a right knob if I just lie here and don't wrestle on. When there's no fans there to do it for, there's nothing to make you get up off the couch. So the easy, like, you're in pain. So the easiest thing for you to do is, well, I'm just going to lie here then. It was so much harder when there was no fans. So these wrestlers are crazy. Like they live for that pop off the crowd.
Adrenaline. They love it.
But I think, going back to our original point, it is why I'm so annoyed that they've announced so much, because I've literally seen all the men and all the women announced for the Rumble matches, and I'm like, there's like 4 or 5 spots that aren't filled. I'm like, that's shit. Because a couple of them will be NXT. We already know Asuka and Bayley and people like that, and maybe Paige. So if it's 2 NXT girls, Asuka, Bayley, and Paige, that's awesome. But in the men, one of them might be Walter and stuff like that, but there aren't, like, what I'm saying is, say that there's 25 of the 30 announced, right?
Yeah.
Of those 5, how many are going to be a surprise? Probably not that many.
No.
There will be some of them 5 that will be just a normal wrestler, but that hasn't been announced for whatever reason. It just, do you know what I miss, Kev? And I've said this. Do you know what I would do now? And do you know what? I actually said this to you a few months ago.
Yeah.
I mentioned it tonight, and it kind of feels like it's actually happening. I want no brand split anymore.
Yeah.
I want Raw and SmackDown to be anyone goes, anything goes, because you wouldn't know. Like, I would get excited as a kid when I was watching SmackDown and Triple H's music hit, because you wouldn't know. You might have just seen him on Raw.
Yeah.
But you would never know who was going to be on which Raw or SmackDown, because the whole of the roster was on both shows. So you would tune in.
I think they're turning it. I think that's going to happen, because I still think it's going to be Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. Title for title.
The one champion. Yeah. That's what it's that for me. I don't think Roman had COVID. And I'll tell you for why. I don't think Roman had COVID because he's got leukemia. You don't yes, you can put leukemia into remission, but it's always there. You're on medication for the rest of your life. If he had COVID with him having leukemia, he'd have been gone for longer than a week.
Yeah,
because he tested positive for COVID on the Sunday. He was on SmackDown that Friday. 5 days. 5 days. There's no way he would only be gone for 5 days with him having leukemia if he did have COVID. I'm calling BS on that. So I think that they pulled it last minute. It might have always even been the plan. This might have been the plan for months, but the build-up, like, to get people excited for day one, Roman versus Brock, it gets people tuning in. And I think it's why it was announced only a few hours before day one went live. It was announced about 4 or 5 hours before day one went live. Like, people was already there. People was already people was already going to tune in and watch it. And then obviously it was announced that Brock was then in the Fatal 5. I think that was the plan all along, was for Brock to win the WWE title. And now you get Brock and Roman in a rivalry where it's champion versus champion for one overall champion. I agree with you. I think WrestleMania, and this is what I said, I said a few months ago I would like it to go this way. And what they've done now with Brock and Roman, I agree with you. I think WrestleMania main event is Brock versus Roman. And I think Roman will probably win it. I think Roman will probably win that match. I think Heyman will probably turn on Brock.
Yeah.
I feel like Heyman, it will look, from now up until WrestleMania, everything will look like Heyman's turned on Roman. Well, Roman turned on him. Roman Superman punched Heyman, said that he fired. Heyman's now back with Brock as his advocate. I think that's what it'll look like leading up until Mania, and then during the match at Mania, Heyman turns on Brock.
Yeah.
Roman wins the belt and is the overall champion. And then the night after, the Raw after Mania, they will announce that Raw and SmackDown is now, it's all one roster.
One roster.
Because
they've got a smaller roster, and it makes sort of sense. And obviously unifying them would be better as well. You'd get a new title design. I think they would have to go with, what would they have to go with? The World Universal Champion? WWE World Universal Champion?
I would just go back to WWE World Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah.
For me, that makes the most sense. And yes, there will be matches announced. Of course there will be, but there will always be a surprise, because you won't know because there might be 4, 5, 6 weeks where Seth Rollins isn't on SmackDown because he's in a rivalry on Raw, and there's no nothing happens on SmackDown that would warrant him to be there. Then all of a sudden Seth Rollins music, you go, oh no way, Seth's on SmackDown. Like you just won't know. And that's what it was like when I was a kid, and it was so much better when it was like that, because it opened up possibilities for anyone to just turn up.
Yeah. Yeah. And there was more. It seemed like there was more matches as well, weren't there? There was less talking, and there was a lot more action going on. But I don't know. Maybe they are going to unify them. They look similar. Maybe this was their thing all along.
I think so.
I still think it's going to be Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar for, to unify the belts. But then what happens to the winner of the Rumble?
The winner of the Rumble faces that champion.
And not only that as well, obviously WWE have only just announced the Elimination Chamber in Jeddah, in Saudi, for February. So this was another thing that I never really understood. So you won it at Rumble, it guarantees you a spot at WrestleMania, but then there was a title match in between. And I never really understood that. And we're going to have that because they've already announced that there's going to be an Elimination Chamber. So what belts are going to be fought in that? And it's normally going to be WWE Universal. So,
I mean, it just means whoever holds the belt going into Mania. So if it does change hands in the Elimination Chamber, then you're challenging for that belt, not necessarily the person who has it.
Yeah, well, it changed hands before, because it was if you remember that far back, 2001, we had the Royal Rumble, and obviously Austin won it. But at the time, Kurt Angle was the champion, and then we had obviously the pay-per-view in between, No Way Out, where we had Kurt Angle versus The Rock, and The Rock won, and that's why we got Austin and Rock at WrestleMania 17.
Yeah.
So we could have something like that, but yeah, I don't know. I still think it's going to be title versus title at WrestleMania.
I mean, look,
I don't understand where it comes with, the winner of the Rumble. I don't know how all that fits in, but we'll see, because I still think it's going to be a one-on-one Roman versus Brock.
Yeah. Or you have the only thing that you could do is, and people wouldn't like it, you could do whoever wins the Rumble fights on night 2 of WrestleMania. So Roman versus Brock, main event of night 1. The main event of night 2 is whoever wins that match versus whoever wins the Rumble.
Yeah, that's that could happen. Yeah. That's probably the way of doing it, isn't it? So that works, doesn't it? Really, that does work. But yeah, I just want to see where the other titles go. We've got Alpha Academy now. Looks like they're going in a feud still with RK Bro, and I don't see the Usos dropping the belt. And if they do, I think it's going to be to the Viking Raiders. But I don't see them beating them really at the minute.
Hey, do you know what? I'm not going to name names because I've not asked, and I'm not going to message him live on air. He is quite good. He's usually quite... He doesn't say anything unless he's heard it from somewhere reliable.
Yeah.
Someone that I know on Twitter said that he's hearing that there is a very real possibility that the winner of the Royal Rumble will be Austin Theory.
Oh yeah, the way he is at the moment with Vince, and I was a little bit. I think a lot of people were a little bit pissed off because Balor come back, and everyone was like, "Oh, great, Finn Balor's come back," and he gets pinned by Austin Theory, clean. Let's put it that way. I know as soon as that happened, Twitter blew up. Loads of people thought he deserves better than this. He goes away, comes back, and he's beaten by Austin Theory, out of all people. I
like Austin Theory, and I think he has a bright future. But
I think the problem is they're tailoring like they did originally with McIntyre. When McIntyre was first there, he was Vince's golden boy, and he became Intercontinental Champion. And Vince sort of molded him, and it went to his head. He even says it himself. That all went to his head, and he had drinking problems, and he couldn't control it. And that's why he got fired. So it just looks like they're doing that again, but with Austin Theory. So they're sort of Vince's little golden child boy, building him up. You could be right. You could be right. At this point in time, I don't know. It's probably the only Rumble I couldn't pick a winner. I think the women's is going to be either Bayley or Bianca.
I actually feel like I kind of have a pretty good feeling who will win both.
I've got a feeling it's going to be Bayley on the women's side now. I said before it was going to be Bayley, but I think it's actually going to be Bianca Belair. And the reason is because that would make her the first back-to-back women's Royal Rumble winner in history. And just because she's going in with big time Bex at the moment, she's sort of in a feud there. So I've got a funny feeling that, because obviously she came back at SummerSlam, didn't she? And beat Bianca in seconds. And everyone was pissed off about that, like immensely, even pissed off the Bella twins that were there. And they said it on an interview on WWE. They said that was not the way to treat her. And I'm wondering whether they're backtracking now and they're sort of like, okay, we shouldn't have done that. Let her win the Rumble and then she'll beat Becky at WrestleMania for the title. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think Bianca Belair is going to win and then she'll beat Becky Lynch for the title in a big bout. But the men's, I couldn't say. I would have said Walter or someone like that. But as he's only just come up to NXT, I don't see that happening. And then you sort of go through the names, Big E maybe. But I for me, the men's is it could be anyone really.
I think I'll be fuming if it's Austin Theory. I'll be fuming. He's all right. I like him. I think he's got a bright future, and I think in time he will get there. He's not ready yet. He's not ready. The women's, I think it's going to be either Bayley, and I genuinely, if Paige enters it, I wouldn't be surprised if Paige wins it. Genuinely, I wouldn't. I really wouldn't be surprised at all. But I think if Paige enters, I'll say Paige. If she doesn't, I'll say Bayley. The men's, honestly, I really think it's going to be Owens.
Kevin Owens, yeah.
Because name a massive name wrestler who's like higher echelon level talent who hasn't won a Royal Rumble. Because I can only think of Owens. Owens is the only one who's right up there who's never won a Rumble.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's just come within 4 weeks of leaving WWE. They've offered him a massive amount of money to keep him because they know how good he is and how much they need him. I think they know that it would have been a massive loss to lose him because he's firing on all cylinders at the minute. He's killing everything that he's doing, and he has been doing for a number of years. I don't think that there's a wrestler as overlooked as much as him, but there is no other wrestler at that level who hasn't won a Rumble because they all Seth, Roman, all of the top guys, they've all won a Royal Rumble. Apart from Owens. And I think he's probably, when negotiating his new contract, I think he's probably said, look, I want to be used more. I deserve better. And what I want is to win the Royal Rumble and go on to main event of WrestleMania. Now, he's probably said, I don't care if this is the only one that I ever main event. I want to do it. I've earned it. And, when you look at what he's done over the last 5 years, when you look at what Roman and Seth and Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre, what they've done, Owens has done just as much, if not more, than some of them. I think he's earned this moment. I think he's worked hard enough and has earned.
Yeah, I think you could be right.
I think he's earned the chance to win the Royal Rumble, and it's a shame that if it does happen, if I am right, it's a shame that it's took him having to negotiate it in his contract to get what he deserved years ago.
Yeah, it's Shinsuke Nakamura was the same. I think he won the Rumble and nothing ever came of that. And I think he's a bigger star than they put on, if you know what I mean. They realise.
Kev, Robert Roode, look at what Roode did in when he was at Impact.
Impact, yeah. TNA and that. Yeah, he was on fire. Beer Money Inc. and all that. They were massive.
And then look at what he did when he came to NXT. It was brilliant in NXT. And then the second he came up, shit all over him.
Yeah, they didn't know what to do with him. And that's the sad sort of affair now, I think, with like everything, is that they go in NXT and they're hot property and then they come up to WWE and then they ain't got a clue. And then they're like, right, what do we do now with him? We'll change him up. They don't really know, and I think that's why he's with Ziggler, because it's easier to be stuck in a tag team with someone who's very similar to him.
But speaking of his partner, Ziggler for me is the most underappreciated and underused talent in the history of the business, because even though Kevin Owens hasn't done what he should have done, what I feel like he deserves in terms of more title reigns, even not like he should have had more Intercontinental and United States title reigns. Because if he's not in the main title pitch, we should at the very least be holding United States or Intercontinentals, because Owens is that good. He might not have won Rumbles and main evented Manias. Dolph Ziggler doesn't even get to win a match, and he is one of the most talented in-ring and on the mic wrestlers that they have.
They said he was.
Don't give him anything.
They said that he's not only the next Shawn Michaels, he is this century's Shawn Michaels. He's that good in the ring and he's that good on the mic. He is Shawn Michaels sort of thing. He's so good.
It's the full package. He has everything. I am honestly, it boggles my mind how he isn't used.
Yeah.
Like you don't like Owens has at least been getting title shots. Yes, okay, he might have lost them, but he's been putting on bangers of matches against Roman Reigns. Those 3 or 4 matches he had against Roman were awesome. He's put on some great matches against Rollins. He's put on phenomenal matches for the last 3 or 4 years without giving a title. But he's still been put in main event matches, main evented pay-per-views
Yeah.
and has been given title shots. Dolph Ziggler can't even win a match on a random Raw.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I don't get it. Like, I think it's because he can't keep that shut. It's the only thing I can think of is that he can't keep his mouth shut.
Yeah.
You know, some of the stuff that he's put on Twitter, I'm like, how have you not been sacked? Some of the stuff he puts on his Twitter, he just doesn't care. But I think he can't keep his mouth shut. And I feel like he's probably, because he's so good, they've not got rid of him.
Yeah.
But they're not giving him anything because they kind of just, I think he probably does kick off and moan a lot and, you know.
Yeah. I think that's right. I think you're right. I think you knocked down on the head there. Right, before we go, I want to ask you this question, right? So, who would, like, you could pick anyone in wrestling, anyone to debut at Royal Rumble. Who would be like the biggest surprise for you to turn up in the Rumble? It's number 30. The music hits. Who is it?
For me,
like the biggest surprise right now. Who would you go? Holy oh my god, like that.
The women's is interesting. The women's is easy. I've already said it. For me, it's Paige. And very, very quickly, the reason why I say Paige is because she built this women's evolution. Like, she started it. Like when she came up and beat AJ Lee for the title the first night on Raw. Like, she started. Like, she was the first woman where men were drinking the beers in the crowd, going, "Fucking hell, she can wrestle." Like, they were interested in it. Like, they wanted to see her wrestle.
They wanted to see
she
women's
started it
wrestling,
all.
Yeah.
And then after she started it, and that massive wave came through after her. You know, Charlotte, Becky, Bayley, Banks, they all came after Paige. She started it, and then as it was getting big and women were getting bigger opportunities, she got injured and was forced to retire. I feel like it's so cruel, and I think
Paige is my go-to as well.
Yeah.
For the Paige is for me. If she come out, I'd be like, "Oh my god, this is it."
I will cry.
Yeah.
I will cry because she deserves it. She started this whole women's movement in wrestling and everything that followed after it. And then, you know, the Women's Royal Rumble is now a thing. They had Women's Evolution, the first ever pay-per-view that was just women. Women are now wrestling in Saudi Arabia. They've main evented Mania. In my opinion, none of that would have happened if you didn't have Paige. Paige was the catalyst. She was the first women's wrestler that the WWE universe went, fucking hell, she can wrestle. I want to watch her. Everyone else, it's a women's match. Right, I'm going to go and get a beer and a hot dog. They didn't care. They didn't care about the women's matches.
What about the men's then? Come on. Who is like, you'd lose your shit if they came out?
I think the one that I would probably lose the most shit of coming out probably would be Cody Rhodes because of his entrance music, though.
Not CM Punk? Cult personality hits, Punk comes out and does that like he always used to.
That's so hard. I would say Rhodes because he is AEW. He started AEW. AEW is going against WWE. They're trying to outdo WWE. They never will do, but they're trying to rival WWE. They're trying to outdo them. They shit on them at every turn. Whenever they can get a cheap dig in, they will do. Cody Rhodes is the face of AEW. He started the whole thing. He was the first wrestler signed. You know, he was signed when there wasn't even a contract to fucking sign. He was the first guy. He created everything. For him, and the fact that it's the lyrics of his entrance music. Imagine if Vince is there ringside. For whatever reason, Vince is there ringside. And Cody Rhodes does his entrance and he screams the lyrics. You took my dreams, but not my name at Vince McMahon. As he it was just amazing.
Yeah. For me, it would be 30 would hit, the lights would go out, and it would be dun 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 dun, and it's Bray Wyatt. Comes out slowly, like he used to. Hawaiian shirt, everything, and he comes out and he's like, just walks to the ring slowly, and he's obviously got Redbeard, as he's called now, and he comes out with him as well. And that I think I'd be like, Like even if he came out as the Fiend, but I think as Bray Wyatt, it all went dark, and then the slow music came. I think I would literally go, "Oh my god, he's back." Wouldn't you just lose it?
I would absolutely lose my shit. But do you know what? I think Bray Wyatt is that dream one that is realistic.
Yeah, that's
And
what I'm saying.
The reason why I say it's realistic, where is he? What's he doing? He's
Yeah.
not said anything. He's
Even
not
if he
said
just come
anything.
back for that, even if he come back for that one night just to pop the crowd like that, I think people would lose their shit. Literally, I think it would be on the level of Edge when Edge come out. That's what it would be on.
Oh, who's the? Oh, I tell you, I've just googled it because I've tried to. I can't remember his name. Who is currently in Japan? Who done everything in Japan, and he said that he wants to. We were talking about it a few months ago. He said that he wants to come to America. Will Ospreay, thank you very much. That would be a good one.
Yeah.
That's not. Oh my god, lose my shit, but that would be. This is for the future. Like that would it would be the new AJ Styles. Like when AJ Styles debuted in the Rumble, you're like, oh my god, things are changing. AJ Styles is now in WWE. This changes everything. Will Ospreay would do that. Will Ospreay, he would be that. Oh my god, he's signed with WWE. This is a permanent thing. Like, what's going to happen now? Like he's incredible.
I'm still going to go for Bray Wyatt because I reckon even if you had Cena, The Rock, all those sort of music hits and they came out, I think it would blow the roof off. If you had, like you're saying, if even if Cody turns up or Bray Wyatt or CM Punk, I think it would tear it down.
Absolutely, absolutely. Mate, I know he's got he's got injuries, and I think he's having surgeries. But Omega, that'd be amazing. Yeah. Ken Omega would be amazing. But I think Bray's the more realistic one because why has he not said anything?
Yeah, he's gone quiet and he's gone well quiet.
Do you know how long it's been since he's been released?
I would say a good 6-7 months at least, probably even longer. 7 months. Yeah.
He's not said anything.
He's not said anything. Exactly. This is what I mean. This is what I mean. I've thought about it and I was like, imagine if it all goes quiet and you just get the start of the Wyatt family music, and he comes out with the lads like he used to with Hawaiian shirt, hat.
Mate, do you know what? I wouldn't be surprised.
People would go crazy, mate. People would go nuts.
I wouldn't be surprised if Bray and Braun both come back.
Yeah, together. You have Braun Strowman, and then you have obviously the Black Sheep, and then you have Redbeard, Eric Rowan.
Yeah. I think Bray would,
coming down.
Bray would get the biggest scream out of me.
Yeah.
Punk would make me feel like a giddy, excited child the most. Cody Rhodes would be a holy fucking shit. Just because of what he's done, what he's created with AEW, what he's done with his entrance music, everything is him saying how he feels towards Vince McMahon. If he comes out number 30 in the Rumble singing his entrance music, it just what it symbolizes would be incredible. But I'm gonna say like there's only one that would actually make me cry. Not much makes me cry. Paige's music hitting would be one of them because I feel so sorry for her.
Yeah.
You know, everything that has happened now for the women started because of her, and she hasn't been able to experience any of it. She basically said, it was basically, right, cheers, Paige, you've created this massive avalanche of women's talent, and you've changed women's wrestling forever, and everything that has happened afterwards, you've not seen any of it, and you've not experienced any of it because you've been forced to retire because of injury. It's just so cruel. It's so cruel. Like, it was sad when Edge was forced to retire. Edge had been doing that for 15 years. He'd main evented WrestleManias. He'd won titles. Yes, he had a lot left in him, and the fact that he's come back after 10 years and he's still kicking ass now, you know, we could have had, you know, that 10 years. Yeah, but Paige was forced to retire at 25. She was 25 years old. Like she barely scratched the surface of what
What she
was
could do.
capable of.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm going to say it now. Without that injury, you wouldn't have had Ronda, Charlotte, and Becky main eventing the WrestleMania. It would have been Paige.
Yeah.
You know, you wouldn't have. How many titles? Charlotte, what is she? 15 times women's champion or something stupid. She wouldn't have had that many if Paige was there.
That's it. Yeah.
You know,
it's all different. It's sort of surreal, isn't it? I mean, she comes back. That would get
everything will feel
men's
right.
one I'm more excited for, but I think the women's side, like I said, Paige comes back. I think that would burn the house down, and then on the same night to have something else surprise on the men's one would be awesome.
Yeah, I hope that there is like I'll be really happy when Asuka's music hits. I'm glad she's back. I'll be really happy when Bailey's music hits because Bailey was killing it, and I'll be really excited that she's back. I'll be happy for her because you know it was cruel that the timing of the injury was cruel. But I hope that there is a Paige or a Bray Wyatt level shock.
Yeah, I think it's coming. I think it's coming. I think it's building up to it. Look, we're going to leave it there.
Yeah.
We leave it there because, we could talk about this for hours, couldn't we? Really? I mean,
I just wanted to say before we go, it feels like we're gearing up to something big because SmackDown has been getting better. NXT the last few weeks have been getting better and better. Raw has gone from almost unwatchably bad for a while now to the last 3 weeks has been really good.
Yeah,
and it's interesting that all of a sudden it's like something's happened and it's like right, you can tell that the producers and the writers they're gearing up towards something now.
Yeah.
I think that.
But we'll leave it there. Yeah. Look, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for subscribing, all that sort of stuff. I've been Kev.
I've been Dan.
And we'll see you at the next one, guys. Yeah, see you then.